Let me take you somewhere. It's 3:52 in the morning. The bedroom is dark, the kind of dark that has weight to it. The heater has clicked off. Somewhere down the hall, a clock is ticking, and outside the street is so still, you could hear a single car 3 blocks away. You weren't dreaming. No dog barked. No bladder woke you. Your eyes simply opened, the way a door opens on its own in an old house, quietly for no reason you can name. And there you are, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. You roll over, you count backward from 100, and maybe 40 minutes later, sleep finally takes you again, soft and grudging. Then it happens the next night, and the night after that, always around the same hour. You tell yourself it's stress, you tell yourself it's age, that this is just what getting older feels like. You tell yourself it's nothing. I want to gently suggest something different. I'm a physician, and I've spent a long time sitting across from people over 60 who say almost those exact words to me. And here's the truth most doctors won't say out loud in a 15-minute appointment, because there simply isn't time. The hour you wake in the night is rarely random. Waking consistently between 3 and 5 in the morning can be one of the quietest, earliest ways your body taps you on the shoulder and says, "Pay attention to me." That doesn't mean something is wrong. Let me be very precise here, because I never want to frighten you about your own sleep. I am not saying every early waking is a warning sign. I'm saying there's a difference between sleep that simply breaks and sleep that's trying to tell you something. And almost nobody is teaching you how to read the message in the room. By the end of our time together, you'll know how. We'll walk through 5 reasons this happens, the systems behind them, and a simple set of questions you can run in the dark. The third reason surprises almost everyone I explain it to. So let me give you one idea to hold on to, because everything else hangs from it. Think of your body as running a night shift. While you sleep, you are not switched off. You are switched over. A whole crew comes on duty in the dark. There's an internal clock, the circadian rhythm, a roughly 24-hour timekeeper seated deep in the brain that decides when each system should be busiest. There's the repair and restore window, the hours when your body does its quiet maintenance, clearing waste, balancing hormones, settling blood sugar, mending tissue. And there's the cascade. One disrupted night nudges the next. Cortisol creeps up, sleep frays a little more, and broken sleep slowly becomes its own spiral, one that, over months and years, can age the body faster than the calendar does. Poor sleep nudges blood pressure upward, dulls the mind, frays the mood, and quietly taxes the heart. That's why I take it seriously, even when it seems small. A single rough night is nothing. A pattern of rough nights repeated for years is a slow weather system shaping the whole landscape of your health. Rhythm, repair, cascade. Hold those 3 words. Everything we look at now is just one of those 3 forces showing up in your bedroom at 3 in the morning. Now let's read the signals. The first reason is the most common, and the easiest to wave away. Blood sugar dipping in the night. It feels invisible because it happens while you're unconscious, and because the symptom, waking up, looks nothing like a sugar problem. Let me tell you about Eleanor, 73, a retired school teacher from Tucson. Every night, almost to the minute, she woke at 3:30, heart faintly racing, a little damp at the back of the neck, a little uneasy, and she had no idea why. She'd lie there and wonder if it was a bad dream she couldn't remember. It wasn't. Here's the mechanism, in plain terms. If your blood sugar drops too low in the small hours, your body doesn't just let you sink. It releases stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, to pull that sugar back up and keep you safe. And those hormones are alarm bells. They're designed to wake you, so you snap awake at 3:30, not because anything is failing, but because your body did exactly what it's built to do. It protected you. This is well documented in sleep and metabolic medicine. Clinicians call the early morning sugar rebound the dawn phenomenon. What to do about it? Look honestly at the evening. A sugary snack, a heavy dessert, or alcohol before bed can set up the very crash that wakes you a few hours later. For Eleanor, a small protein snack before bed and moving her glass of wine to dinner instead of bedtime smoothed the whole night out within 2 weeks. Small change, quieter nights. The second reason is cortisol itself, the body's own rising tide. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. Cortisol has a rhythm. It's meant to be at its lowest around midnight and then climb in the pre-dawn hours, peaking shortly after you wake, because cortisol is partly what gets you up and moving in the morning. That's healthy. That's the system working. But when life has been heavy, grief, money worry, a diagnosis in the family, the slow ache of loneliness, that curve can shift earlier and steeper. The tide that should lift you at 6 is now lifting you at 4. Consider Frank, 68, a widower in Cleveland who started waking at 4 a.m. in the months after his wife passed. Nothing was diseased in Frank. His body's stress rhythm had simply leaned forward under the weight he was carrying. And let me say that again because it matters. The waking was real, the cause was real, and none of it meant his body was broken. What helps here isn't a pill first. It's the boring, powerful things. Light in the morning, movement in the day, winding down without a glowing screen, and naming the stress out loud to someone. Sometimes the body calms when the mind finally feels heard. Let me pause and ask you something directly, because I'm curious and because it helps everyone reading along. What time do you tend to wake? Not approximately, the real number, the one you've seen on your clock too many times. Type it in the comments, just the number. I read them and you'll be surprised how many people are awake at the exact same minute as you. The third reason is the one that surprises almost everyone, and it's this. It might not be your sleep at all. It might be your breathing. Sleep apnea, where the airway briefly collapses and breathing pauses dozens of times an hour, doesn't always look like the loud, dramatic snoring we picture. In many older adults, especially women, it shows up as nothing more than waking in the pre-dawn hours, sometimes with a dry mouth, a dull headache, a heart that won't quite settle. Take Marjorie, 65, from Savannah, who came to me certain she had anxiety. She woke most nights around 3 a.m., heart pounding. What was actually happening was that each time her breathing paused, her oxygen dipped and her body jolted her awake to restart it. She wasn't anxious. She was suffocating in tiny repeated increments and didn't know it. The mechanism is recognized across all major sleep medicine guidelines, and untreated, it carries real consequences for the heart over time. So here is where I'll be plain. If you wake gasping, with morning headaches, daytime exhaustion no nap seems to fix, or a partner notices you stop breathing in your sleep, please ask your doctor about a sleep study. It's a simple test, often done at home now, and it can change everything. This is the one signal I never want you to wave away. The fourth reason brings us back to the night shift and the organ doing the most quiet labor of all, the liver. Now, you may have heard a popular idea floating around that waking between 1 and 3 in the morning means your liver is in distress. Let me be honest with you, because you deserve it. That specific clock comes from traditional belief, not from modern medical evidence, and I won't sell it to you as fact. But here's the real, grounded version underneath the myth. The liver is genuinely busiest at night. While you sleep, it's processing the day, clearing metabolic waste, managing how sugar and fat are stored and released, breaking down alcohol and medications. When that workload is heavy, a late, rich meal, a few drinks, a body carrying more strain than it should, that overnight processing can ripple into your sleep and surface as restless waking in the early hours. I think of Raymond, 70, from Portland, who realized his 2 a.m. wakings tracked almost perfectly with the nights he ate dinner late and had a nightcap. On the nights he ate early and skipped the drink, he slept straight through. Not a disease, a workload. He shifted dinner earlier, eased off the evening drink, and his nights settled within a month. The lesson isn't mystical, it's mechanical. Give the night shift less to clean up, and it wakes you less. And now, the fifth reason. And I'm going to tell this one differently. No story, no name. Because some signals are serious enough that they should stand alone, without a comforting anecdote to soften them. Sometimes, consistent waking in the pre-dawn hours, paired with other changes, a low mood that won't lift, a loss of interest in things you used to love, early waking as the most stubborn symptom of all, is one of the recognized signs of depression, particularly in older adults, where it often hides behind sleep complaints instead of sadness. I'm not going to wrap that in a tidy ending. I'm going to ask you to take it seriously, the way you'd want someone to take it seriously for a person you love. If that's you, or someone in your house, that early waking deserves a real conversation with a real professional. Not because something is wrong with you, because you are worth the attention. Let me say that again, because the whole spirit of this depends on it. I am not telling you that every early waking is a warning. Most of the people I meet who wake at 4 are not sick. They're human, sleeping a human's imperfect sleep in a body that's been faithfully carrying them for 60, 70, 80 years. The goal here was never to frighten you. It was to hand you a way to listen. So let me hand you the tool. The next time your eyes open in the dark, instead of lying there in helpless worry, watching the minutes turn over on the clock, I want you to become a quiet observer of your own night. Run 5 simple questions. First, how long was I awake? A few restless minutes is a very different thing from 2 hours staring at the ceiling. One is normal, the other is worth noting. Second, what did I eat or drink before bed? Late meals, sugar, and alcohol are the usual suspects, and they confess easily once you start watching for them. Third, when did this pattern start? A change that began the week of a loss, a new medication, or a stressful event is telling you something a random night isn't. Fourth, how do I feel in the morning? Refreshed and clear is reassuring. Foggy, headachy, and exhausted day after day is worth following up with your doctor. And fifth, is it the same hour every single time? Same hour, every night, is your body keeping an appointment. And an appointment always has a reason. 5 questions. You can keep them on the nightstand. And notice what they do. They turn a frightening, helpless moment into an act of quiet attention. You stop being the victim of your nights and become the reader of them. Because here, at the end, is what I most want you to carry with you. There is a difference between sleeping and truly resting. There's a difference between a body that is quietly breaking down in the dark and a body that is simply asking, gently and repeatedly, to be heard. Most of the time, when your eyes open at 4, it's the second one. It's not an emergency, it's a conversation, and you are allowed to answer it. You have every right to listen to your own body, to ask the questions, to understand the answers, to expect your nights to restore you and your mornings to greet you with something steady. You've earned that. Every one of those years has earned you that. Restful nights, clear mornings, energy for the days and the people who matter most. If this helped you understand your own nights a little better, subscribe and stay with me. This is exactly the kind of thing I want to keep explaining, plainly and without the rush of a clinic. And before you go, tell me down in the comments, what hour does your body keep waking you, and what do you think it's been trying to say? I'll be reading.